Ashford Estate, a name whispered in hushed tones, a place where shadows danced and secrets hid. The mist clung to the crumbling stone walls, cold and damp. Twisted branches like skeletal fingers reached towards the house. It stood on a precipice, overlooking a churning grey sea. The wind howled through the eaves, a mournful, lonely sound. Night had fallen, swallowing the last vestiges of light. The moon, a pale sliver, offered no comfort. It only illuminated the decay. The once grand manor was now a shell, haunted by whispers of the past. Each stone seemed to breathe with the weight of forgotten tragedies. The very air hummed with unseen energy. The estate was a testament to time's relentless passage. Gargoyles, eroded and grim, watched from above. Their expressions seemed to mock the living. The iron gates, rusted and groaning, stood open like the jaws of a beast. Ashford Estate welcomed visitors, not with warmth, but with a chilling embrace. Legends clung to Ashford Estate like cobwebs. Tales whispered around crackling fires, voices low, eyes wide. They spoke of Lord Ashford, the estate's original master, a man obsessed with unlocking forbidden knowledge, an alchemist, they called him, or perhaps something far more sinister.
It was said he held seances in the dead of night, summoning entities from beyond the veil.
The villagers swore they heard chanting. Unholy whispers carried on the wind. They spoke of sacrifices made under the blood moon, animals, then whispers of something more.
Lord Ashford sought immortality, they said. He craved power beyond human comprehension. But his pursuits came at a terrible cost. His obsession poisoned the land.
The whispers spoke of a darkness that seeped into the very foundation of Ashford Estate, a darkness that lingered still. The most haunting tale was that of Lady Isabella. A woman of unparalleled beauty, they said, with eyes like sapphires. She was young, full of life. Then she became Lord Ashford's bride, trapped within the cold stone walls of his estate. Isabella vanished without a trace.
Some whispered of an accident, a fall from the cliffs perhaps. Others spoke of murder, of Lord Ashford, driven mad by his experiments, taking her life in a fit of jealous rage.
The truth remained shrouded in shadow, but her spirit, they said, never left Ashford Estate. She wandered the halls, a spectral figure in white, a mournful presence weeping for her lost life.
Some claimed to hear her sobs echoing through the empty rooms, a chilling reminder of the darkness that consumed Ashford Estate, a warning to those who dared to enter.
The old car rattled up the overgrown drive. Emily gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. She could feel the estate watching her approach. A sense of foreboding settled in her stomach, cold and heavy. She had inherited Ashford Estate from a distant relative, a place she'd only seen in faded photographs. Now it loomed before her, more menacing than any picture could capture.
She stepped out of the car, the silence pressing in on her. The only sound was the wind whistling through the trees, like a mournful sigh. The air was thick with the scent of decay and salt. She shivered, pulling her coat tighter around her. This place had a way of seeping into your bones.
A lone raven cawed from its perch on a gnarled branch. Its black eyes seemed to follow her every move.
Emily took a deep breath, trying to quell the unease that threatened to consume her. She had made the long journey here. She couldn't turn back now. Not yet.
The interior of Ashford Estate was dark and oppressive. Dust motes danced in the faint slivers of light. Cobwebs draped the furniture like ghostly shrouds.
I wandered through the rooms, each one colder and more silent. I could hear my own breath echoing. The walls seemed to hold their breath.
The air was thick with the weight of the past. She ran her hand along a dusty tapestry. The embroidered figures seemed to stare back.
This place held stories whispered in the shadows. Stories I wasn't sure I wanted to hear.
A floorboard creaked. Emily froze. She swore she heard a whisper. She turned, but there was nothing, just the shadows stretching and contorting.
I was alone? Or was I?
The grand hall was a cavernous space. A massive fireplace dominated one wall, its hearth cold and empty. Above it hung a portrait of Lord Ashford. His eyes, dark and piercing, seemed to follow Emily's every move.
I stood before it, mesmerized by the intensity of his gaze. He seemed to radiate a palpable aura of power, and something else, something darker, more sinister.
The portrait was a window into the past, into the soul of the man who had built this estate. A man driven by ambition, by a thirst for knowledge that had consumed him. Emily could feel the weight of his gaze upon her, as if he were judging her, weighing her worth. A shiver ran down her spine.
I tore my gaze away from the portrait, my heart pounding in my chest. The air in the grand hall seemed to crackle with unseen energy. I felt a presence here, something ancient and powerful, something that watched me from the shadows.
Emily walked through the mansion. A cold wind seemed to follow her, though all the windows were sealed tight. She stopped at a door. It was slightly ajar, and she could have sworn she heard music, a mournful yet beautiful melody played on a piano.
I pushed the door open slowly. The room was dark, lit only by a sliver of moonlight. Dust motes danced in the air, illuminated by the pale light. And there, sitting at a grand piano, was a woman. Her back was to me, but she was draped in a white gown that seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. Long dark hair cascaded down her back.
The woman was playing a haunting melody. Each note seemed to drip with sorrow and longing. Emily stood there, frozen in the doorway, unsure whether to speak or to simply turn and flee. The music washed over her, sending chills down her spine.
I had a sense that I was intruding on something private, something sacred, something dangerous.
A cold hand brushed against Emily's cheek. She gasped, spinning around to face the touch. The ghostly figure of a woman hovered before her. Her face was beautiful, yet etched with a profound sadness. Her eyes, like pools of liquid moonlight, stared right through Emily. This was Isabella, the lady of Ashford Estate.
Leave, this place is mine.
The air grew cold, biting at Emily's skin. She wanted to run, but her feet felt rooted to the spot. Isabella's sorrowful eyes held her captive. The shadows in the room seemed to writhe and twist, as if alive with some unseen energy.
I stumbled back, fear constricting my throat. I turned to flee, but the door slammed shut with a resounding boom. Panic surged through me. I was trapped.
The temperature plummeted, and a bone-chilling cold enveloped her. Isabella's laughter, filled with sorrow and a chilling triumph, echoed through the halls. Ashford Estate had claimed another soul.